Well, just when I thought it was going quite well, I was digging a nice ditch around the back of the house, and I've managed to pull the track off the mini digger, so I'm going to have to try and fix that. And it doesn't look like it's come off, it's not come out, it's actually gone in. So it's gone in on the roller there, and also the drive sprocket here. You can see it's come out, and it's the track has moved inside. So we've got to try and fix that. I've got a few things to do with this, so it gives me a good chance to show you guys on how to take the track off or how to replace the track. And we're going to look at the adjuster that's in here. It's just a bolt and a nut type thing. We'll have a look at that in a minute. But really, when the track is gone on the inside of this sprocket, it is quite hard to get it back on just by manoeuvring it. Sometimes if you have the back one is okay and the front one's come off, you can sort of crab it a little bit as you move forward on the drive controls, and it will pull itself straight. But this is like a multiple thing. So it's come off the center guide in here, it's come off the front, it's come off the back. So what I'm going to do is actually take this nut off and just take this drive sprocket off. I've found this is the quickest way to get the track off and then to start to put it back on. First thing is to get the split pin out. Now in your official toolbox, this is the one that came with my digger. It's supposed to have all the spanners and things in there to do all the service items. There is this big socket thing which goes for the back sprocket here, and chances are it may not even be that tight. Let's see. Okay, so that didn't take much, and that comes off. And this sprocket is actually on a hub that's conical, and it has a keyway in the one side of it here. So a good way of trying to get this off is just by running it backwards and forwards, and it tends to work itself off the hub. So I'll just start up again. And I'm just going to use the drive control. Go backwards and forwards a few times, you'll start to see that it's coming off the hub, and then all of a sudden it'll fly off. Watch out, doggo. Watch out. And it falls off. So that's the hub there. It's got a tapered piece to it, and then that's the keyway that locks into the drive sprocket. So yeah, it comes off pretty easy if you just use that method and rock it backwards and forwards, and that the whole drive will come off. Okay, I've got the track and the dog You helping or not? Psst. Yes, you are. So I've got the track on the ground now, so that's come off, and you can see these centre bits are what has to go either side of the drive sprocket, and also either side of the front idler wheel, if that's the right name. So I'm just going to clean this up a little bit because I've got a lot of crap up here from before, which probably didn't help the situation when I was in a lot of mud and stuff lately. I mean, I did pressure wash this the last time I used it in heavy clay, but you know, there's just some places it doesn't get into. I mean, if you're not using it in a lot of dirt and only in sort of a grass paddock or something, then this will probably be fine. There won't be anything in here at all, but I tend to get clogged up quite regularly. There we are. That's getting it. That's getting it. That's nice now. And I was just trying to show actually down, if you look down in here, you can sort of see how much is on the adjuster, how much gap there is there, and that's sometimes helpful for when you are putting it back on if you need to set the adjuster. Now for the cover plate, it's a 13mm socket, or 13mm anything really, spanner, and that just takes this plate off, and that'll reveal the track tension, a mechanism inside. And it's sometimes easier to do it when the track is actually off, because you can get your arm up underneath here, which is sometimes a little bit better than when the track's on. You're a little bit limited for room. Just take 3 off and then the panel will swing out of the way. Okay, there we are. Try and not lose those. Now if you look inside, you'll see that there's a big bolt and a nut that's in there. Big bolt and a big nut. And if you go to your toolbox that they give you and ferret through here, you'll find that there's a single big spanner. One is a 30mm, one is a 32mm, and what you need to do with this is basically throw it away, because that big nut is 39mm and there's nothing in the toolkit that'll fit it. Okay, because the spanner doesn't fit, I just use a plumber's wrench or an adjustable wrench, something like this, that I can adjust to the size. I measured the nut and it's about 39mm, so I think what I'll do is probably buy a spanner if I find one, a ring spanner that is the right size, so then I've got it. But with this one you can just put it in under here. It's easy with the track not on the bottom. You can get your hand in underneath and then you can loosen that off. Usually I've found they're not on all that tight, so you can just loosen that lock nut off. And with this adjusting bolt here, if you wind it out, it pushes that idler wheel outwards, so, and that will increase the tension. I'll just see if I can show you that. So I'm just winding that bolt forward in a clockwise direction and it's pushing that idler wheel out. So I want to go the other way. I want to wind it anti-clockwise and push that idler wheel back in as far as I can go. Okay, the next step, what I think I'll do is put this drive sprocket back on. I've found that I think at this stage I can put it on and it'll be okay. I've just cleaned the face of this up a little bit. There is an oil seal that's around on this drive here, so I've just taken my magic rag here and cleaned that up a little bit, just so there's no dirt in there, so that's good. And we'll put our sprocket back on. Oh no, that was all too much. I know the feeling. Right, I'm just going to clean the inside of this hub a little bit, just with a rag, just in there. That's good. And to put that back on, line the keyway up, give it a tap. Get our nut, put our nut back on. I've cleaned that thread up in there as well. I'm not going to worry putting the split pin in just yet, in case I've got to take it off again. Next step is to put the track on the front, and I usually put the track on the front first and then get it in the right sort of position, so all those middle bits here are in the right position, and that's sort of half the battle, is to get it on there. I might just again have to put the camera down a little bit to get it square up. I'll just put this down, maybe there somewhere, there somewhere. Okay, so that's on there. And pull it back that way. Right, get that under there. Now you'll see there's a lot of gap there, so a lot of this has to be tensioned back to the back, and just making sure that's on there, which is good. Yep, okay, I might put you on the tripod for this next bit. Okay, what I'm going to do now is actually start the engine so I can use the drive motor to hopefully pull the track on. So I'll start her up. So try and keep your fingers out of the way, but if you push this across here, it tends to pick up the sprockets. Let's see how we go. I'm going in a backwards direction. And there we are, it pops on. Turn that off now. So I found usually if you have the front on first and get that all nice and centered, have the middle rail that we looked at under here, get that centered as well, it then tends to want to sort of pull itself on straight onto the back sprocket. So that's on there now. I'll tighten that nut up and put the split pin back in. Okay, so the track's sitting on quite nicely. I've got my split pin back in the nut there, and I'm just going to go back to the adjuster and tighten that back up. They don't give you the right size spanner, surprisingly, so I'm just using an adjustable wrench. The size on the end there is 18 millimeter on the end, and the big nut is 39 millimeters if you're looking to buy such a weapon. So I'm just going to adjust that back up. It is going to be hard to do it because you've got now the pressure of the track on the front roller, whereas it was quite easy before. A longer spanner would be better than a shorter one because it is tight. But you just work your way through it slowly. And I think that's probably about where it was, so just going to put that lock nut back up, and I can get in here just enough to tighten it. There we are. So that's all the go. And if you're adjusting the tracks, or you need to adjust the tracks, then it's the same procedure. Sometimes I find it a little bit easier if I start it, rotate it a little bit, do some adjustment, rotate it a little bit, do some adjustment. Put lots of lube and stuff on that thread to make it easy going in, and preferably use a longer handle spanner because it is hard to adjust. It is quite tight. So now just going to put these plates back on, these ones here. I know you know, the proper procedure for adjustment of tracks is usually there's a grease fitting on the larger machines, but nearly all of these cheap Chinese ones I've seen all have just a physical nut and bolt system. It probably means you can't get the track as tight as if you were using a grease gun, but you just have to keep an eye on it. I haven't adjusted the tracks on this much at all, really. I've only done them once. Maybe that's why they came off, but I think they're okay now. They'll be pretty cool. Right, so they're back in there. Just get my socket, just nip those up a bit. It's only a tapped thread into the steel, so don't go crazy tight on it because you'll strip it out. Okay, there we are, and that's the job done. So there we are, I've got the tracks back on, and this was probably the worst case scenario where you have these lugs here that end up on the inside of the idler wheel and the inside of the sprocket drive. That's a really nasty situation. If the track comes off from the outside and you find it just laying on the ground, then it's probably not such an issue to get it on using much the same technique. But that really didn't take long, probably I'm thinking 10 minutes maybe. I actually sound like I know what I'm doing, but only because the other side fell off yesterday and I did the same thing yesterday in the dark. Anyway, there we are. Job done. Back to work. Thanks for watching. See you next time.